major ruling involving the Second Amendment.
Major Supreme Court ruling.
It's a case that legal experts will be watching closely when it likely heads before the justices.
All right, guys, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Because if you've been watching the Supreme Court's moves lately, you might be thinking the same thing a lot of us in the gun world were asking. Did we just experience a bloody November? And by that, I mean a full-scale, wholesale rejection of a massive wave of major Second Amendment cases that were stacked up and ready for the court to grab. We're talking felony issues. We're talking hardware bans. We're talking cases that determine what real gun owners can and can't do in day-to-day life. But here's the deal. None of this makes sense without context. We're going to slow this down, zoom out, and look at the battlefield like a gun guy should. What got shot down? What's still alive? Why certain cases disappeared overnight? And what this all means when the robes start moving chess pieces. So buckle up. This is going to feel like one of those long conversations after a training course, while we're sweeping brass and reloading mags. All right, fellas, let's get into it. The Supreme Court's handling of Second Amendment cases in 2025 shows a trend I can only describe as selective enthusiasm. Dozens of 2A petitions got denied. Exactly 2 were accepted. Starting in June 2025, we saw the denial of Snope versus Bruen, the case taking on Maryland's assault weapon ban targeting AR-15 style rifles. The Fourth Circuit upheld the ban using the old tired line that these rifles are military-style weapons and thus supposedly outside Second Amendment protection. Total nonsense. But then Justice Kavanaugh wrote separately, basically hinting, we'll take the AR-15 issue, just not right now. Meanwhile, Thomas, Alito, and Gorsuch wanted to take it immediately. Kavanaugh likely agrees with them, but didn't want to pull the trigger yet. Barrett and Roberts, the wild cards, and recently, very wild, also rejected in June was Ocean State Tactical versus Rhode Island, challenging their 10-round magazine ban. Once again, the First Circuit upheld it, and once again, the same 3 conservative justices signaled they would have granted review. The rest of the court apparently had more pressing matters. And remember, SCOTUS only hears 1 to 3% of petitions. That's the historical average. But this pattern wasn't random, it was deliberate. And these hardware cases, magazines, rifles, accessories, aren't about gear, they're about constitutional structure. April 2025 brought the rejection of Worth versus Jacobson, Minnesota's case requiring you to be 21 to qualify for a public carry permit. But the Eighth Circuit had already struck the law down, meaning SCOTUS's denial left a pro-gun ruling in place, a rare win, but limited geographically to the Eighth Circuit. Then came Wade versus University of Michigan, where petitioners argued that universities shouldn't be sensitive places under Bruen. The court wasn't interested. October 2025, Missouri's big Second Amendment Preservation Act also got slapped down. Missouri tried to nullify federal gun laws and fine officers $50,000 for helping enforce them. Lower courts said nope under the Supremacy Clause. SCOTUS didn't touch it. Then we hit November, and everything went sideways. On November 17th, the court rejected Vala VHA versus United States, the case challenging the federal requirement that firearm manufacturers or sellers must have an FFL license. The petitioner argued that the Second Amendment protects a right to manufacture firearms without federal permission. The Ninth Circuit had already shot that down using the ancillary rights doctrine, a phrase that gets more authoritarian every time I hear it. Then SCOTUS denied it outright, but the hits continued. The court tossed 8 separate challenges to 922G1, the federal felon in possession law. Both facial challenges and as-applied challenges from nonviolent felons were denied. The message was clear. We're not reopening the felon in possession debate. Then came the big stack. The November 21st conference had 59 Second Amendment petitions on the docket. On November 24th, the court denied 3 and relisted 56. And yes, in the middle of all this, the Gundy's voting opened, and you guys crushed it. Vote daily, pinned comment, SHOT Show 2026. You know the drill. Back to the video. Those 3 petitions died, but 56 remain relisted, suspended in judicial limbo. They're not dead, they're not alive, they're being watched. And the court did accept 2 cases for the next term. First, Wolford versus Lopez, the Hawaii case. This one targets Hawaii's massive list of sensitive places, so over-inclusive that you practically cannot carry anywhere. It also strikes at the vampire rule, the idea that you can't exercise your right unless a business posts a sign explicitly inviting firearms. The question is simple. How far can states go in banning locations while pretending to comply with Bruen? Second, United States versus Hamanai, the 922G3 case targeting marijuana users. Here's the conflict. Marijuana is legal in many states but illegal federally, so lawful state users are still prohibited persons under federal law. The court will decide whether a blanket ban on habitual drug users survives Bruen and how much evidence counts as habitual. One possession ticket? A year of lost rights? Is that the same as chronic abuse? This case impacts millions of Americans. The big picture. What does this mean? Here's the zoom out. By September, around 52 petitions were pending. By November 21, that climbed to 59. Across the 2024 to 2025 term, roughly 70 distinct 2A petitions reached the docket, and the court accepted 2. An acceptance rate around 3%, which is actually normal. But what counts as a gun case gets messy fast. Not every case involving a gun is a Second Amendment case. Still, even with those caveats, the court denied dozens of cases that would have fixed anti-gun lower court rulings. This frustrates a lot of people, understandably. But the larger pattern is this. SCOTUS is being extremely selective about which 2A cases they take, even after Bruen ignited the battlefield. Since Bruen dropped in 2022, courts across the country have seen over 2,000 challenges to gun laws. 2,000. And SCOTUS has mostly stayed back, letting circuit splits develop. The 2 cases they did accept prove they're not done. They're still willing to expand protections and slap down anti-gun states. Are they doing as much as I want? Absolutely not. Are they doing nothing? Absolutely not. This is business as usual for the Supreme Court. Slow, selective, and strategic. The war isn't over, not even close. But for the first time in decades, we're actually winning. I appreciate you sticking through this long breakdown. I didn't just want to list denials. I wanted the full terrain map. We're closing today with a powerful quote. This comes from Gandhi, speaking about the British Arms Act of 1876, which disarmed India under colonial rule. Quote, "Among the many misdeeds of the British rule in India, history will look upon the act depriving a whole nation of arms as the blackest. Even a man dedicated to peaceful resistance understood exactly what disarmament really is, the ultimate tool of control. It was true in 1876. It's true in 2026. And it will be true as long as governments exist. I appreciate you sticking around. If you like this one, check out the other deep dives on the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Take care. Drop a comment. Share it. Hit like. Now, let's close this out.